Hello mga kabayan. Um, ito, ano ngayon, January 15, 2025. Magandang araw eh. So, taking advantage of this nice weather to stretch the legs, walk around. Ano tong area na to? Saan ba tayo? This is in the Burnaby neighborhood. Ang tawag dito, Burn Creek Park. So, ito mahilig kasi tayo sa sa outdoors at nature. So, palakad-lakad lang. Yung gusto kong i-share ngayon is yung dami kasing mga balita na saka starting year na daming challenges sa mga tao. Dami kong message na natatanggap. Humihingi ng tulong. Kung hanap ng trabaho, hanap ng lamia, dami. Made me think of my own experience dito. Kasi matagal-tagal na din ako dito sa Canada. I think it's parang ito lang si-share ko based lang sa aking limited na experience, based sa aking engagement. Marami kasi akong kilala dito na mga grupo. Kasama ko sa maraming grupo, either faith-based or community-based or school-based or career-based na grupo. So marami na akong encounter na klase-klaseng mga Pilipino din, saka imigrante. Pero sa sa topic natin ngayon, focus ko lang yung experience ko sa mga Pilipino. So I think merong 4 na klase na Pinoy na nandito sa Canada. Ang very broadly masasabi ko, yung unang grupo, yung mga Pinoy na dumating dito before 2010. Ito yung grupo na pinaka blessed, pinaka fortunate, pinaka stable sa lahat ng mga grupo ng Pinoy. And I'll try to talk more about that later. Ang pangalawang grupo, yung mga Pinoy na 2010 to 2018. Itong grupo, swerte pa din. Stable din yung career nila. Marami sa kanila immigrant na or citizen na. Pero i-explain ko rin mamaya bakit sila nakagroup ng ganyan. Yung pangatlong grupo, yung grupo ng mga Pinoy from 2018 to 2023. Ito yung grupo na dumating sa pandemic. So medyo nilalam ko lang sa lahat kasi I think same lang yung opportunities at challenges nila. Then yung panghuli, yung grupo ng mga Pinoy na dumating after 2023. So ito ngayon yung marami tayong nakikinig na mga hirap at challenges. So gusto ko lang i-dissect kasi in my opinion, depende sa grupo ng mga Pinoy, we can approach this problem in a way that the different groups of Pinoys can come together to help each other. Kasi iba-iba yung strength ng iba-ibang grupo eh. So, for example, yung unang grupo, yung grupo na dumating prior to 2010, and I'm only talking about the recent immigration, maybe in the last 20-30 years, not the historical immigration from hundreds of years ago. Recent lang yung yung part sa experience ko. So, ito yung first group ng mga Pinoy that I would say dumating sa Canada at that time na cut off ko is 2010 kasi 2010 was memorable. At that time, Winter Olympics was here. Ano pa ba? This was a time of economic prosperity. No? Sa pagkakaalam ko, massive hiring left and right. Daming opportunities, particularly sa trades at saka sa healthcare, which never has changed, right? Cost of living at that time was manageable, no? Including kahit na sa Vancouver, yung housing sa Vancouver obviously still expensive, pero within the surrounding community sa mga suburbs, affordable pa rin. So karamihan sa mga Pinoy na nandito sa group are, I would say, the most stable yung sitwasyon nila. Karamihan sa kanila nakabili na ng bahay, taking advantage of those lower prices. Karamihan sa kanila yung career nila is napursu na nila, either nakapag close to retirement or retired na sila, or they started their own businesses, no? Yung mga anak nila, kids are probably entering college or finishing college or have entered the workforce, so they're even more financial wiggle room sa kanila. And for this group, ito yung group na I would say ang group na what you would look up to as mga mentor natin, no? But I'll try to talk about mamaya what I see, how each different group has their own strengths and weaknesses, and as a community we can all contribute to each other. So yung pangalawang grupo, yung grupo ng mga Pinoy from 2010 to 2018. Ito yung grupo ng mga Pinoy na dumating after sa Winter Olympics. Yung Canada at that time was still economically prosperous. Pero everything was starting to get expensive. Right? Housing prices were starting to go up. Kahit na sa mga suburbs. Yung Canadian dollar was at that time on par with the US dollar. Unlike ngayon. So meaning lahat ng bilihin mo galing US mura, pero yung mga export industry ng Canada tinamaan. Yung mga grupo ng mga Pinoy dito na dumating at this time have largely been able to establish themselves here. Marami sa kanila mga permanent residents na rin or citizen na, no? Yung grupo na ito have their families are established in Canada now. Their kids are now attending school. They're entering into a phase of stability. Career nila is stable, cautiously stable, kasi yung grupong nito is I would put myself in this group where we came at the time where we were able to take advantage of career opportunities, pero nga ang mahal, everything was getting expensive. So in my experience, kahit na purchasing a home was very challenging, particularly dito sa Metro Vancouver area. Pag sa ibang location, obviously iba yung experience nila. Dami kong mga kabatch na pumunta ng Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg, sa Ontario na nakabili na ng bahay. So this experience is just specific to yung pumunta sa Vancouver. Kasi mahal talaga dito. But trade-off naman is, it's January 15. It's 8 degrees Celsius. I'm walking in my t-shirt. That's a trade-off there. Kaya ang daming gusto pumunta dito. Kaya ang mahal din ng bahay. No? So, yun yung pangalawang grupo ng mga Pinoy. So we're most of them are permanent residents, most of them are citizens, stable na yung career, moving up in their career siguro, but still mayroong financial challenges, particularly purchasing a home or preparing for retirement kasi nga ang mahal dito sa Vancouver. Ang third group, so yung first group is before 2010, yung second group 2010 to 2018, yung third group yung mga grupo ng Pinoy na dumating after 2018, I think up to 2023. Kasi ito yung grupo pumunta sa Canada and around 2020 nagka-pandemic. So yung mga dumating earlier 2018 to 2020 siguro, marami sa kanila na-extend yung stay nila. Kasi at that time Canada was prioritizing those who are already here in Canada. So, ibig sabihin, if temporary foreign worker ka or international student and you applied for permanent residency, mas malaki ang chance mo makuha yan. The door was open for you. Right? Then, afterwards, massive immigration. Kahit na pandemic kasi at that time Canada was looking and needed immigrants. So ito yung grupo na nakapasok prior to everything closing down. Ito yung grupo na have started to build their lives here and have established their careers, starting in their careers in the fields that they've chosen. Pero yung malaking challenge ng grupo nito, they came to Canada at the height of the economic challenge na lahat ang mahal. Merong housing affordability crisis. And inflation was very high at that time. Lahat ng bibilihin ng mahal. Bahay, kotse, pagkain. So was a challenging time sa grupong nito, pero many of them are in the pathway to get the career that desire or to become permanent residents. So this is that group. Yung pinakahuling group, ito yung grupo na dumating after 2023, and they came to Canada at the time of change. Now there's growing pressure in the government to drastically limit the immigration numbers for international students, foreign workers. Kasi nga, the economic challenges was there. Mahal ng bahay. There was an effective wage freeze in the low wage area. Kasi Why would employers hire Canadians when they can just hire temporary foreign workers who they can offer the minimum wage, diba? So that really put a freeze on the wage. And so ang grupo na to talaga is ang tinamaan ng change, tinamaan ng stricter immigration policy, heavy economic pressure in this group kasi this group either face now lower wages or lower work hours, restrictions sa mga spouse nila pagdating dito to work. Dami. So why do I think na kailangan natin i-classify yung mga grupo ng to iba-ibang parang group. So first group was pre-2010, the second group was from 2010 to 2018, yung third group yung 2018 to 2023, tapos yung pang-apat na group yung 2023 to 2024. Because I think, in my opinion, yung each group merong strengths and challenges. So yung first group ng immigrants, na Filipino immigrants, yung 2010 and earlier, meron silang financial and career stability. They have established roots in the community. They would have access to resources and networks built by years of living in Canada. But they're approaching retirement, and many of them probably don't see eye to eye with the newer waves of Filipinos. I see this group as mentors, as community leaders. So this group can really help out other Filipinos by stepping up and contributing their wisdom, their knowledge, their network to help the other Filipino groups. Yung group 2 ng immigrants na Filipino, yung dumating 2010 to 2018, sa tingin ko yung strengths nila is they have ito yung grupo na now they're balancing career stability, yung family growth. Meron itong grupo na ito have diverse career pathways and very diverse educational achievements. At so itong grupo nito also is facing cost of living and pressure to achieve financial stability. But this group, I think, can act as bridge builders between the group 1, the mentors, and the leaders in the community, to the other groups, right? The groups that came more recently. They can be the bridge builders between these groups because they have their foot on each side. Yung group 3 naman, yung grupo ng 2018 to 2023. This group still have that fresh energy, still have the ambition to establish themselves in Canada. They still have, gained knowledge on how they successfully transition into the Canadian society. So, but this group also faces financial struggles. This group is facing competition sa kanilang trabaho. So, this group can contribute a lot by offering their collaborative experiences. They can be the ones also reaching out for mentorship and guidance from the first and even the second groups. And they're still very, they still bring a freshness to the culture, the Filipino culture. They bring it to our community here in Canada. And yung pinakahuli, yung grupo from 2023 onwards, ito yung group na I think is the one that demonstrate to us resilience in the face of all these challenges. We can learn a lot from them, but they're the ones who are really struggling with economic, financial, job security. Even staying here in Canada is a challenge for this group. So this group can lead in advocacy. This group can reach out to the other groups in community engagement. So I think just to wrap it up, kasi mahaba na rin yung pinag-usapan natin, what I'm looking for is, amongst the different groups, mentorship, leadership for those who have succeeded here in Canada, advocacy sa mga needs ng ating community, perhaps even join intergenerational events, kasi yung mga tito, tita, they can really help you. And even yung mga faith-based communities, they're very good at this. Dami dito sa BC, maraming faith-based communities, particularly, for example, Couples for Christ community. Join those groups, and but no, not from a self-serving interest, but more to be part of the community. So yun lang. Again, hindi po ako eksperto. Ito lang po naman yung experience ko while living in Canada for the past 15 years. Maganda is Canada is worth fighting for if you really want to be here. Pero there's hope for you, there's hope for the future. Hang in there, and yun lang, prayers help din. Reach out sa yung Panginoon natin. Always will have the best plans for us. Ito po, babay na po.